Today we discuss the very important topic of the power system. That is a fuse. Fuse is a device which we can replace instead of the circuit breaker. The fuse is very popular in a local electrical circuit installation. So it is a very important topic to understand what is the meaning of that fuse. The fuse is a very short piece of electrical circuit which installed in electrical circuit in a series, and when in series fuse is installed at the time of abnormal condition, it disconnect the load from the electrical supply. So fuse is a very cheapest device, therefore it is generally available in a local market. So what are the advantages of fuses are? First advantages is it is a very cheap in cost, therefore available in a local market, and anyone can purchase to install it in domestic electrical supply to protect our electrical devices from short circuit or the abnormal condition. Therefore everyone can install because the cost of the fuse is very cheap. After that, this fuse is easily available in the market, in the local market. This is the most important advantages of fuse. After that, during the operation of fuse, no any kind of noise or no any kind of smoke is produced. So the operation of fuse is very silent. Therefore, no any kind of noise distortion or smoke distortion is produced by fuse. Next, for the operation of time, that means when any kind of distortion or any kind of abnormal condition is produced, at that time the operation of fuse happens in very short time. That means minimum time required for the operation. These are the main advantages of fuses. Because of that, everyone uses the fuse because this is a very important advantages. After that, some disadvantages also occur in fuses, but let us focus on that disadvantages. First disadvantage, after every operation we have to replace the fuse link. To replace this fuse link, we require time. So the time required for the rewiring is the main disadvantages of fuse. Because for the quick operation or for the sensitive loads, that times produces some types of losses. So time required for the wiring is the main disadvantage. After that, the interruption characteristics of the fuse is not successfully interrupted. Because of that, we cannot reliable on the fuse. After that, the main disadvantage of fuse is that the risk of fire is more in case of fuse. These three are the main disadvantages of the fuse. Now we focus on the characteristics of fuse. There are some characteristics of fuse. The first characteristic is that the fuse having very low melting point. In the fuse, we used fuse link like zinc, tin alloy, tin lead or tin lead alloys. The melting point of these fuse links or conductor is very low. After that, the conductivity of the fuse link or the fuse is very high. This is the main advantages. Because of that, we use fuse in the domestic electrical wiring. After that, the third disadvantages of fuse is that it is free from deterioration from the oxidation. It is also very important characteristics of the fuse. And the last characteristics of the fuse, it is a very important characteristics because the cost of the fuse is very cheap. That means it is available in low cost in low market. In the local market. Therefore, in the domestic market, the fuse is very popular for the electricity interruption. These are the four characteristics of the fuse. Then, which type of material is used for the fuse link? It is a very popular question in competitive exam also. For the material use lead, zinc and tin and lead alloy. We can use tin and lead alloy. Whenever we use tin and lead alloy, the percentage of alloy is we have to use tin 37% and lead 63%. This is the composition of the lead tin alloy. We have to use 30%, 37% tin and 63% lead. This is the combination, this is the composition of lead and tin alloy. So important three materials are used as a fuse link or the link conductor, that is lead, second zinc, third tin and lead and tin alloy. These materials we use as a fuse link. Okay. Now let us consider one graph. This graph shows the important terms of the fuse. We have to draw a graph of time versus current. Time versus current. Here we draw the graph of time versus current. Here we show that this point is called as cutoff current. Here the fuse is actually made, and at that point where the fuse actually made is called as cutoff current. In the cutoff current, there are two parts. First part is called as pre-arcing time and the second part is called as arcing time. That means it is the two steps where the actual arcing is produced. At this time, the arcing start to produce, and the time where the arcing start to produce, this time is called as pre-arcing time. It means it is actual the time before the arcing. After that, when the arcing is produced at this point, the cutoff point, the arcing is produced, and this time is called as the time produced during the arcing. It is called as earthing time, and the total time, that means pre-earthing time and earthing time. This time is called as total time of earthing. This time is called as total time of earthing, and the current, the remaining current shown by the dotted line is called as a symmetrical current. Called as a symmetrical current. Got it? That is, this is a graph, time versus current. Here, where at that point where the earthing is produced is called as cutoff current. The time required, the time before the earthing is called as pre-earthing time. The time during the earthing is called as earthing time. Okay. Now, important terms related to the current rating. Important terms related to the fuse. First is current rating. What is meant by current rating? The current. What is meant by current rating? The current at which it is a current which flow through the fuse without any interruption. It's called as current rating. After that, fusing current. It is the current at that point current fuse get melt or fuse get blow off. It's called as fusing current. Next, fusing factor. What is my fusing factor? Fusing factor is the ratio of rated current to the fusing current. Okay, got it? Means fusing factor is the ratio of rated current to the fusing current. What is my rated current or current rating? The current which flows without any interruption or any abnormal condition. It's called as current rating. After that, fusing current. What is my fusing current? Fusing current is a current where the fuse get melt. The current where at which the fuse get melt is called as fusing current. Okay. Now, what are the types of fuses? There are important two types of fuses. First is low voltage fuse and second is high voltage fuse. There are two types of fuses. First is low voltage fuse and second is high voltage fuse. Here we consider only low voltage fuses. So this low voltage fuse is also divided into three subtypes. First is semi-enclosed fuse and second is HRC fuse. These are the important types of the low voltage fuse. The first is semi-enclosed fuse. The current rating of this semi-enclosed fuse is 500 ampere to the 500 ampere. Up to the 500 ampere it can bear it can carry the current, and voltage rating of this semi-enclosed fuse is above 400. It can carry the voltage. Okay, this semi-enclosed fuse is also called as Kit Kat fuse. We know this is a very popular name. This is called Kit Kat fuse or rewirable fuse, because when the fuse gets made, we have to replace the wire, or we have to replace the fuse conductor. Because of that, it is called as rewirable fuse. Which fuse? Semi-enclosed fuse. Okay, semi-enclosed fuse is divided into the construction or the appearance of this fuse is divided into two sections. First is base and another is a top or the fuse cartridge. Okay, first is a base and another is a top. The lower part is called as base, which is mounted on the electrical panel. Okay, which is mounted on the electrical panel, and the base having two terminals. One terminal is live terminal, which is connected with the live electrical supply, and another terminal is connected with the load. and the upper section of the rewirable fuse is that is called as top section of the fuse cartridge, where also two terminals are connected, and between the two terminals we have to connect the fuse link. This fuse link is generally made up of from lead tin alloy, and this type of construction is totally produced by the ceramic material and or the porcelain material. This type of fuse is mounted on the electrical panel, and the mounting of the panel is very easy. Handling of the fuse is very easy, and the operation is very easy. Therefore, this is a very popular electrical fuse. Next is HRC fuse. Next type is HRC fuse. This HRC fuse is called as high rupturing capacity fuse. Okay, it is called as high rupturing capacity fuse. Let us draw the diagram of HRC fuse. The outer section of the HRC fuse. This is the outer section of HRC fuse. It's called as fuse cartridge. This outer section is called as fuse cartridge. This outer section is generally made up from aluminium. After that, these two links is called as fuse links. It's called as fuse links. After that, the fuse link, there are two caps. It's called as end caps. This is called as end caps. These are generally made from bronze material. After that, two terminals are there, and between the two terminals, one fuse link is present. This fuse link is generally made from silver. And inside the fuse cartridge, there is a tremendous amount of powder is filled. This powder is generally made from chalk, generally made from chalk. This chalk or dust powder filled in the fuse cartridge. At the time of melting of the fuse, what happens? Melting of the fuse, this fuse link breaks, and tremendous amount of arc and fumes are generated. These arc and fumes are quenched by are extinguished by this chalk powder. Okay, but this is a very reliable fuse. This is a very reliable fuse. Because of that, the use of this fuse is very popular. But this fuse having one important limitation, that is we have to replace this fuse after the every operation. We have to replace, and the replacement of the fuse is not economical. Because of that, generally the semi-enclosed or KitKat fuse is use. Okay, I thought you have to understand this.